please. Everybody muted. Oh, you guys are amazing. Okay, so my name is Tammy Williams, and tonight is the Momentum Call, and it's May, I think it's the 7th, isn't it? It's the 6th. It's the May 6th, the day after Cinco de Mayo Day. Too many margaritas yesterday. And I'm so excited that I get to lead the call, and I wanted to pick something that was really exciting and that would be really fun and have lots of juicy nuggets. I know a lot of us are doing the Teensy Boot Camp, and we're really focused on building relationships and getting to know people better and seeing where that goes. And so there was one person in particular that was at conference that I didn't get a chance to get to know very well, who I have a lot of admiration and respect for. And because I asked Barb if it would be okay maybe that we would do something fun and have a little party on here and have a guest speaker to share her story. And it was somebody who's gone really fast lately, and she's been completely out of her comfort zone. And my whole concept of this call, I called it Building Belief and Casting Vision. And yes, I wanted those nuggets for you guys, but I also wanted them for me. I've been around a little bit, and it's nice to hear from people that are going fast. It's nice to hear what they're up to. So with the drum roll, our special guest is Kylie Knight. Woo! So I'm so excited. So go ahead and unmute yourself. So she and I, have been really taking the time to get to know each other, and I really want to follow some of my notes here. So for those of you who don't know her, she walked the stage in Sacramento as a new SC using the 90-day Fast Track Express program. And she's the first one on Team Turquoise to do that. And she is leading the way. And I just know that after this call, so many more people are going to it's going to cast a vision and a belief about how possible this is. So I'm really excited. And I know a lot of you have seen her on calls and at conference, but we really haven't sat down and really had a one-on-one with her. We haven't had a chance to hang out and have coffee in a more intimate setting. And so that was the whole premise of this call tonight. And the second thing is that I think a lot of times when new people go fast, some of us, could have been me, that have been around for a while, kind of think that there's something magic happening there. Something behind the scenes that we don't know, that maybe, they're extra special, or maybe they're smarter, or they know more people, or maybe they have some superpower that we don't have, right? Or they have a skill or something. And even though some of that could be true for Kylie, maybe she does have a super, I haven't seen it yet. But I thought it would be fun for her to just share her story so people could really hear the real truth about what it took to make that happen. And so let's go ahead and get started. As I said, I have some notes and some questions that we can go over. And I don't have very many questions. I have 10, but I know a lot of them are going to run over into other questions. So the share is going to probably go quite quickly. And then I really want a really large bulk of time, because we're going to be very broad. And I know that you guys are going to have more specific questions. And so that's kind of where we're going to go. So with that started, Kylie, thank you so much for being on the call. And I would love it if you would just take a couple minutes just to tell us just a little bit about yourself, maybe where you live, that you're a mom, maybe what you do for a living, where you work, just so that we can get a better idea of who you are.
Okay, well, first off, I am out of my comfort zone again. You guys keep stretching me, and I'm like, when's it going to end? But it probably won't. So I said yes to this call when Tammy asked me, and I was like, okay, here we go again. I'm out of, where I like to live in my little turtle shell and not really like to get out there. And so here I am. So I hope you guys have some grace when I share my story. But I am from Enumclaw, Washington. So I grew up a tomboy, and I had a horse growing up and lived on 5 acres. And my dad actually built our beautiful home out there. And we kind of had our own little oasis, which was just very peaceful for me growing up. And my mom was a nurse, like I said. My dad was an engineer and also did sales and traveled a lot. So my mom was a rock star mom and taught me how to work hard and, scoop poop in the barn. So I scooped with her, and we just constantly were outside and enjoyed that a lot growing up. And I went to a Christian school, and also in the Enumclaw area, and then eventually went to high school at Rainier Christian, and kind of had that development, a biblical worldview, I guess I would say, kind of growing up, which was cool. But yeah, so that is kind of the beginning of my story there. And I'm an orthopedic rep now after I graduated from Liberty University in Virginia, Lynchburg, Virginia, and got a degree in psychology, which I absolutely love. I psychoanalyze everyone, which is just something that I've always done. As a kid, my mom would tell you I just stared at people and she'd be like, "What are you doing?" So that's just something that was in my nature. And so, yeah, I just really felt led to kind of go that path. I didn't really know what to do in college. And so that's what I wanted to do. And I did an emphasis in kinesiology, which is the study of movement, if you guys know what that is. And just has always had a passion about health and fitness. And so, yeah.
And you're a mom?
Yes. And I am currently now a mom, which time flies and I just forget about the craziness in my life. I have a 3.5-year-old daughter named Madison, who is just me as a child, who is the most strong-willed little girl. And I am reading every book that's out there on how to raise her. And then I have a 4-month-old daughter named Reagan. And I just recently got back from maternity leave to come back to my orthopedic career in the East Side, Bellevue, Issaquah area.
Yay! More moms. We love Juice Plus moms. So when it comes to Juice Plus, I know that Sue Fredrickson is your sponsor. Was she your first exposure, or had you heard about Juice Plus before? Did it take a few exposures for you?
Yeah, so growing up, like I said, I had a horse, a little pony named Cody, and Kathy Buck, her husband, actually was the first one to introduce Juice Plus to my mom because her husband shoed my pony out. He like brought his trailer up and got everything out and would go do that. So we talked all the time, and he kind of introduced, and she kind of introduced, and we knew a family that was neighbors with us, the Lorises. It was really close with Kathy Buck, and she was the first exposure. And the reason for that was when I was around 4, my brother was 6. My dad had just been diagnosed with autoimmune disease called sarcoidosis. And so our nutritionist actually, our naturopath, suggested Juice Plus, and we got connected by contacting our friends, our neighbors, I think were the ones that contacted us with Kathy Buck, and then small world, he shoed our pony. So it was crazy. That was my first exposure. So I am a Juice Plus toddler, actually, and it's kind of fun now that I'm doing that for my own kids.
So how did you hear about our mission, and how did you meet Sue in that kind of like that friendship or that dynamics?
Mm-hmm. So out of college, I started my orthopedic career at the age of 20. I got a job right out of college at physical therapy and did that for a year, and then went into the orthopedics medical sales, which is what I absolutely love to do, and fit ACL braces. And so, no, it's a HIPAA violation, but Sue Fredrickson is was one of my patients who actually ruptured her ACL skiing, and Dr. Seiler was the doctor that I brace for, and that whole group up on the hill, Reliance. So I brace all their patients, and Sue was one of them. And I came to her house. I do house fittings, and she said, "Oh, well, I'll make you a smoothie." And I was like, "That's so kind. Like, thank you." And so I get to her house. She is very welcoming. I see this like green tower like sitting in her basement. And I'm like, "What is that? Like, is she growing?" You know, I first thought, is she growing herbal things? And so I watched her gives me this amazing smoothie. And I was like, "What is in this?" And so she juiced me basically. Yeah. Right. So I see on her computer as we got to talking, I fit her for her brace. Everything was good. She's excited to go skiing again. There was a Juice Plus sticker on her computer, and I said, "Oh my goodness." I said, "I took this as a kid," and I had gotten off of it after 18, and you know, right going into college when I probably needed it the most, which is so cool that they re-entered the undergrad in our business. But so yeah, I was like, my daughter does not eat. She eats chicken nuggets, dino nuggets, mac and cheese, and fruit snacks. Like she calls them snoot snacks. So that is her diet. And I was like, they have gummies? And I had no idea that they had gummies. And so I told Sue, I said, here's my credit card, sign me up. And she signed me up for just as a customer. And later I was like, I want to sell this because I love people. I love relationships. And, just being in people's homes, that I have kind of just a take care of people mentality, get them back on their feet again to go out and do the things that they want to do, right? Whether that's hiking, skiing, boating, whatever they want to do. I'm very motivated to get people back to their everyday activities. So that's kind of what was like clicked for me with like, I could do this. And that's when my business started about a year ago.
So the mission was something that you were passionate about. You were hoping, to help people with their health. That really complemented your day, being a medical professional during the day and then bringing the Juice Plus into that. So once you joined the mission, being a busy mom and a busy wife, what did you think that some of the challenges were going to be that you thought maybe you were going to face? And how did you kind of prepare for that? Like, was your family on board? Like, how did you, obviously you were working Monday to Friday. Do you have a long commute? Like, what were your challenges and how were you hoping to share? Like, I know in the beginning, we don't have a really big long-term vision, and our vision changes, but I'm curious to see, looking ahead, how you were planning on working your business and working full time and having a baby and being pregnant. And
Absolutely. So yeah, Sue was just like, let's go, take off and threw all the resources at me right away that to help me succeed. And I was like, whoa, like so much, because I was so busy and I had, just was trying to get pregnant for Reagan at that time, and was getting nutrition back on board, and I was extremely nutritionally depleted, and I was wanting to focus on that because I was working full time and taking care of a toddler, and thinking about the future for our family. And so at that time I was like, wow, this might be a lot, and I don't know if I can do this. She was like, jump on the call Monday night, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I just got home. And she tried to get, I was doing the shred at the time, and she's like, eat before 6 p.m. And I'm like, it's like 7 o'clock and I'm just getting home. And I was like, well, I didn't make that again. I just kind of constantly but she was always there. And she was always just reminding me that, I'm here when you're ready, and whenever you want to get started. And she just kept asking, what my why was. That was the biggest thing I think about Sue, my upline, that she started to ask me, and I really started to think about that. And I had to kind of formulate that over that time frame. And my why at that time was, well, I know I am a mom of a toddler that's not getting her fruits and vegetables, and I want her to be kind of that image of, and see what this does for her. And she instantly started craving fruits and vegetables, and so I thought that was incredible. And about 6 months later, after actually just having a miscarriage at that time, it was kind of a perfect point in our lives that we needed that. And so I jumped back on the nutrition board and did the shred and got pregnant within 6 months. And so we were at that stage of life, and at that time, I think you start thinking as your family grows that you have goals, right? Financial goals. And I was like, wow, like I might want to go back part-time instead of full-time. And my husband and I were kind of talking about that. And he is like been my ultimate support system. He's like, if you want to take this and run with this, then go for it, So I set my why to be, I'm going to work part-time. I'm going to go back part-time, and I'm going to fulfill my, the rest of my income, right? Using going part-time with my Juice Plus business. So that was my goal. And that is what I set with, and really truly motivated me. And I think, an additional goal that Sue just always reminded me was, you're a young mom, you're trying to do this and do all of it, right? And she said, but just constantly just keep thinking about that why. And I also, want to try to pay off my car much sooner than 2021. So that's kind of my goal as well. And so that's where I'm at this point.
When it sounded like as your why changed and your family's why changed, your level of commitment to the business really changed along the way. And so once you and your husband had that why locked in, or that B locked in, as um, and you were all in, I'm curious to see, how did you stay motivated towards that with being pregnant? And we all know in this business, there's ups and downs, there's yeses or nos, people join, they don't join, whatever. We have all these things that we have to deal with. And so I'm curious to see how you stayed motivated, how you dealt with beliefs that came up, or doubts or fears, I call it the crazy critical inner voice that comes in, when, like you said, trying to pop on a Monday night call and trying to work. I'm curious to see how how you dealt with all of these challenges, especially the fears and the doubts and.
Mhm. Yeah, I think in the very beginning, it was me hitting my HLP, and Sue was my biggest cheerleader, and I was getting excited about it, right? So that check come in, and I think that's what did it for me. I was like, oh, I could go really fast if I wanted to. And I realized, since my story started when I was a toddler, I was fortunate to have that. And it just resonated with me that, what, this whole Juice Plus thing has been in my whole life ever since I was little. And so I was like, I can really use my own testimony. Because one of the things was when we first started, because of my dad's autoimmune disease, but my brother had food allergies to corn, wheat, and almost, I think, eggs as well. And they all went away within 6 months of taking Juice Plus. And my mom was like, absolute believer. And so growing up, she was just like, did you take your Juice Plus? Did you take your Juice Plus? And that's all I really knew what Juice Plus was until I saw the bigger picture. Now, fast forward to me out of college, and adult life is real, and finances are real, and medical bills are real. And so, I had Reagan, and you get that first medical bill, it's like $4,000. And then, Maddie had croup, and that was another $3,000 medical bill. And I was on maternity leave and not getting a paycheck for about 3 months. So I think, that financial, need, I guess, there was there. And I just put my head down during my maternity leave and was like, I'm going to do this. And so kept me motivated was, you're right. Absolutely. In the beginning, your why is what gets you in the door, right? What gets you your HLP is what I believe. And then it evolves into something more beautiful. And you're like, wow, this could really truly impact my life. And so, I was like, well, Sue, what are the steps that I have to take to hit this? And she laid it right out for me and gave the expectations and, exactly what I needed to do. And Barb and Sue linked arms with me and told me, you can do this. There's absolutely no way, that you can't get this. And so, and that's what I did. I just started, I did my own version. I'm going to show you this, you guys. So the ABC form has, write down all the people's names that you have. So this is my own version of my ABC form. And I have my other kind of like notebook that I keep. And I had my own kind of version of my ABC form and action of plan. And so I wrote down all the people's names that I thought it would impact. And I remembered that my aunt, who has MS, so autoimmune is huge in our family. And so I remembered her, and she also has AFO, which is an ankle foot orthotic. So I said, wow, like, I'm going to call her, and see how she's doing, right? Relationship marketing is what it's all about. And that's what clicked for me was I need to start, reaching out to people, caring, like dropping cookies off to the neighbors, like those types of things that just show that you care. And so I called my aunt and, checked in with her, saw how she was doing. And I was literally had the baby in the carrier, walked around my house like I'm just like walking circles on the phone and watching my daughter and my 1-year-old nephew, who's like all over the place, walking the plank off the table. And so up the stairs, down the stairs, I'm just chasing him all over. And I'm on the phone and I just called people and I was just loving on them. And those were my check boxes. And I would just check off the names. Once they signed up, I would check and then move on to the next one. And I just opened up and shared my own vulnerable story, which is just my testimony basically throughout my whole life. And that was tough for me to do because I was holding on to a lot of things in my life and not grieving my experience that I had growing up, which was a defining moment in my life. My dad passed away from lung cancer after having sarcoidosis for 8 years. I think it was 6 weeks after he was diagnosed with lung cancer, he passed away. And so, that was a turning point in my life. And so, at the age of 12, I didn't know how to react at that huge moment in my life. And so I unfortunately turned to an eating disorder. And so my passion for health and fitness has really taken like a journey. And so, in the beginning, I was just thinking, this is what I can control at this time. It was food. And so that's what I did. And so, and I ran a lot. I worked at a running store in Virginia during college, and I literally was running marathon after marathon after marathon, right? So I was kind of just running from all of my things that were going on in my life. And so I finally, at this point in my life, so I'm 25, I finally have opened up to people, and even the people that are closest to me, my closest friends, and even you guys and Sue and Barb have all just been incredible inspiration and support to help me grieve. And through that process, it's been, I guess I've been blossoming, but sharing my own testimony. I like to say, I think my mom shared this with me, my mess is my message and my test is my testimony. So that's kind of something that stuck with me. And, I was calling my family members that I hadn't talked to for a really long time, and was healing and crying with them, doing different things. And, but my motivation was my own personal family and my story. And that's what made me go fast. So. Yeah.
And we're hearing more and more, of just being authentic. And I know people always want to say, what video did you use and what script did you use? And we're like, the more we can just be authentic with people and share our own story like you did, people relate to that. They understand that. They hear, they hear your heart, they hear your passion. And that's, being really transparent and authentic. And I'm sure that we know that our stories help so many people. We don't think that they do. We think, oh my gosh, we're going to share our story and they're going to judge us. And in reality, they feel closer to us. So what a brave thing for you to share, and look at the difference that it made, and look at all the families that you helped by doing that. And second, what a validation for Barb and our ABC forum of keeping the sharing of our business simple so that you can write down a few lists of names of people that you really care about. And like you said, share with them authentically and not feeling overwhelmed. And it sounds like you use, the tools, you use your upline and your upline, but at the same time, you shared and used the tools authentically in your own way, in your own timing that you felt comfortable with. And like you said, as you got your HLP and your 2000 plus, by sharing, you got more confidence and really started to own your story, and it morphed you, which is just, that's one of the things that I just love about this business, is that we do it together. I mean, it's not easy being vulnerable, that's for sure. So it just seems like the whys, really knowing your why. And she was saying, my why is going to make me cry. And I was like, well, it's because it's your why, and that's really what drives us. And that's what helps us get over all of the challenges and the struggles. And I think that when we try to hide those things, we don't really become real. And it seems like that has been a great momentum for you. And I'm curious to see how that momentum has played out with you, following the system and using your upline and using the tools and sharing authentic and being transparent. That momentum that created in your business, are you seeing that flow over in your team and the way that they share and the way that they're doing the business?
Yeah, so that's been, mom has linked arms with me and she hit her VF. She was my VF.
Congratulations.
And she just been a huge support in my life. And basically I told her, I said, you gave everything and you worked so hard and you worked your butt off to raise me and keep me in college and keep my life the same. We didn't have to sell our house, praise God. We didn't have to change many things in our life. She made sure that we didn't have to do that at that time when I was 12, very young ages, to not really have a lot of, to have that just consistency in our life was important to her. And so I told her, I said, Mom, I am going to help you refill your retirement since you helped me, go through college and you pretty much gave up a lot of sacrifice as a mom, and I want to do that for my girls. So she said, okay, let's do this. And so her being a nurse gives her an amazing marketing tool, right? So all these nurses, even though she's struggled actually with quite a few of them that just haven't gotten it, which has been just weird. She's gotten a lot of no's actually. And she's like, man, I really would have thought, so-and-so would have gotten it as an anesthesiologist, right? Or as a physician. But, physicians sometimes think they know it all, right? And so she just continued to love on people, and she's been having her own personal development, and it's been fun doing this together. And so, yeah, she just went for it, and I tried to help her any way I could. And honestly, it was kind of a family business. My aunt is a doctor in Arizona, and so I got her going, and I actually helped my mom get to VF. In multiple of our family members, we kind of did together. And I just told them, I said, my mom and I are doing this business together, and we're having a blast getting people healthy with mine. And I just, they know our story because they've been involved in it our whole lives. And they were like, wow, that is so cool, and yeah.
Oh, did you freeze?
That was,
There.
I think,
It froze for a second.
connection we've always had. And my sister-in-law in Bronwyn, so like close, I would say literally 5 days before qualifiers day, the weekend before, I had talked to Barb and Sue over the phone, and they were like, girl, you have one more week, like. And I still had to get quite a bit, and I don't think I truly realized how much and how far I had to go. But I kept telling myself, like, no, I'll get it. Like, my husband was like, are you gonna be able to do this? And I was like, I'll get it, it'll be fine, like, I'll get it, whatever. It's kind of the competitiveness in me. I was like, no, just watch me, I'll be fine. And so Barb and Sue were like, this is what you're gonna do, you're gonna rock this, girl. So 5 days before qualifiers day, they were like, Kylie, you need 2 more HLPs, 2 more. And I was like, wait, what? I thought I had almost had it, right? And I think my last order that I got underneath my mom, and I helped her get, someone underneath with her. And that was my other sister-in-law. And so I had felt, I was like, no, like, I've got it, right? No, you need 2 more HLPs. And I was like, oh, I got to get to work. So I hung up the phone, and I was like, I just cold called, right? Like, I asked my sister-in-law, like, who do you think would use this in their life? Who do you think could impact their life? And there were people that I had contacted way before, right? And the seed was planted, and then all of a sudden I reconnect with them, and I followed up truly like 6 times. And doing the trainings, those consistent phone calls, those coaching calls with Sue, she just told me, following up is caring, right? And we struggle with that. We think we're bothering people, but no, like, these people were like, thank you so much. I work nights. I am depleted with my own nutrition and I need this in my life. And thank you for bringing me these shakes that are so easy. And so boom, 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 boom. Like it was just all day long. And that whole weekend before qualifiers day, I did not go outside once because not even joking. It was beautiful outside. My husband was doing weeds. You know, he is a rock star and has supported me this whole time and said, you go do whatever you need to do. So that support system is huge. And yeah, I did not go outside the entire time. Reagan was on my couch. I called probably 20 people that day and I was exhausted and I wasn't sure. I was starting to doubt at that point if I was going to get it or not. But my sister-in-law linked arms with me for her HLP on and Bronwyn, it came down to the last order that went in underneath one of my other reps that I worked with. She was an MA and she is a stay-at-home mom now and had a passion to make more money. And I said, well, let's do this, girl. So I guess my own energy and I'd say the hype, I really hyped it up because I was having fun. I knew what my why was, and letting these the girls in my life and my mom and me hyping that up, it was something that made them excited about the business, and they saw the mission for their own family and they saw what could be possible, and now they're on fire. Like they want to go and do things. I mean, the girls that my sister-in-law have talked to are like, sign me up. Like, I want what you want. You have so much energy. That's a big thing, right? Like the energy that you get with Juice Plus. And I think it was the volleyball player that was up on the stage, the U.S. team volleyball player, that said, you know, it's wild how you feel on fruits and veggies. And it's true. Like people are like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I just have a lot of energy, you know. Like, and I tell them it's my little secret. And Barb has used that verbiage before, and it works. You know, people ask what's different about you, and they kind of watch your story, right? So my whole life I've gone through a lot, and my friends have watched, you know, and they've seen how I've dealt with it, and they're like, you know, wow, Kylie, it's awesome to hear you talk, is actually what my best friend said to me this weekend when we were in Chelan. She said, I've never heard you talk before. It's always me talking, like, and you are now more, you know, it's awesome to see. And I just said, yeah, because I realized that I can, and I'm passionate about it. So yeah,
Oh,
those
that's
are the
so awesome. So I have one question left before we open it up, but it sounds like one, really knowing your why and knowing that your why will evolve. And as it evolves, your level of commitment evolves. And definitely talking every day with your sponsor, you know, especially with Sue, casting vision, reminding you and holding your why for you, utilizing your upline and the tools, using that ABC form, keeping it small, like you said, 20 people, and just building that relationship and keep talking to them, asking them who they know, how you could help, letting them really hear your story authentically. It sounds like those are all of the things, you know, that were the big things for you that moved you along. And then of course, doing the activities, linking arms with your, you know, with you is building, you brought your mom into the business and people that you really were passionate to work with. And together you guys linked arms and went out there with your mission of helping as many people as you could. And you started with your own family and friends, which is what they tell us in this business to do. We're not out there, you know, to get everybody on Juice Plus. We're out there to help our own family and friends. And out of that, there'll be people that will want to join our mission, and then we get to help them help their family and friends. And that's how we spread this movement. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did. So my last question is what advice would you give somebody who is just starting the business? Because, you know, in the beginning, we don't have a voice, we have some fear, we might have some old beliefs. Some of us may not have the support of our families. What advice could you give them to help them see that they could achieve the same success that you have achieved in this business?
Lately, the only thing that comes to my mind is, girl, get ready, because you better hold on, because this has been the hardest, but yet most beneficial thing I've ever done in my entire life. right? Because it stretched me and pushed me to go back to the time that I started and what that meant and why we started. Because, there were so many things in my life that I had to stretch and grow myself. And so the personal development, I think I'm going to just say, like, this could be the best thing, the best choice you could ever make. And having Barb give her why and her story in the beginning, those 3-way calls, I mean, that hooked me right away when I was, wow, like seeing her and seeing that it's possible, right? And she was a teacher and she said, I don't want to go back to work. And I was like, you know what? That's awesome. Like, I don't want to go back full time at this moment in my life, right? And so just kind of painting that picture for people that it is possible. Even if you're starting off and you wanted to pay for preschool, which is very much, what it was doing in the beginning for us, that's what it did. And, that extra money, like Barb and Sue always say, like, what could that $100 do for you in the beginning, that HLP? And I think, $100 might not sound like a lot, but for some people, that could be the difference between feeding their family that month. You know what I mean? And I think we all have different views and different money, like, I guess, financial needs. And a lot of people, I think it's monetary, and but you got to figure out and adhere to that person. And so, my mom, it's going to be different. She doesn't really need the money, but she needs to do personal development for herself, and is excited, to vacation when she retires. She wants to do that, and she wants to have extra to give to her grandkids and put into a college fund for our grandkids or for our kids. And there's a way to do that, that extra investment that you can make. And I think it's really cool to use that word investment for people that are already busy people, because I've found that the best people in this business are the busy people. And you know what? They are working full time and they're taking care of multiple kids at home, and they are rocking it, right? In the background, I was breastfeeding and typing in an order half the time, and Reagan was screaming, and Maddie was, needing snacks half the time, but I just plugged away. And my husband, having that support in your team, that fellowship, is just really crucial, I think. And some women need that are stay-at-home moms, and that was what it was for one of my reps. And I sold it to her in that way, right? So I just said, the amazing group of women that I have surrounding me build me up every day. And if you don't have that support by a partner or friends around you, that right there is going to get them to say yes. And wow, I see what that could be for my own. So I guess adhering to your own reps. And I know that that's something I think Abby had said at one point too. And I was like, yes, like that is so true. You got to find out people's struggle, right? You listen, you don't talk first, you listen first. And then you can know how to help them. And I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes we have to stop talking for other people to share their hurts and desires and dreams.
We sure do. I am so proud of you. I just want to say congratulations to you on your success. And I know that this is just the beginning for you. And I have to say kudos, a big shout out to Sue and Barb for just holding her why for her when she couldn't see it, and being in constant contact with her. So she always knew where she was and what she needed to do, and she could bounce things off. That just goes to show how important good leadership is, and just really sticking with our reps when they come on, through thick and thin until they achieve their own goals. So with that, I want to unmute everybody. I know we're close to the end, but I would love to hear if you'd love to ask Kylie anything, please, feel free to. She said she's more than happy to answer any questions that anyone might have or anything that you'd like to say.
This is Sue. I just want to say how proud I am of Kylie. She worked really, really hard, but she had a strong why. But she was also coachable. And she would call me up and say, okay, I met this person here. What's some good verbiage? And so she would ask me for some verbiage ideas, and I would give her some ideas, which I got from Bob over the years from her training me. And she said that was really helpful, knowing what to say by giving her verbiage. And also she really utilized the shred program. She did the shred. She got friends to do the shred that had great results and created some shred FOMO.
Yes, I absolutely did. My girlfriend who's now doing the business with me, yeah, she rocked the shred and absolutely, I mean, everybody wants to do it now because she's one of those people that's like, tells every single human being about what she's doing, what works, and everybody's like, yes. So she can pretty much sell anything. So it's been fun to see.
Anybody else have a question? Don't be shy.
I don't know if I'm muted or not.
I can hear
No.
you.
Yep.
Can you hear me? Sorry. So I'm Kylie's mom again. I got rid of the bedtime hair. Sorry. First of all, Kylie, I'm so incredibly proud of you. You are an amazing young lady. And this girl could literally sell waterfront property to somebody who was drowning in a hurricane. She really has that gift, honestly. But she has learned so much, and going to the conference and listening to the speakers and the things that she's learning, even in that, is helping her in her own job in sales. Sales is not my gifting. I am a servant, and I love to do nursing, but I struggle with the HIPAA violation and really struggling with that in my, how do you offer that to patients and give them personal information? It really is a deep struggle for me because it's not that simple when you're working and you offer that to people. It's a conflict of interest, honestly. So, but it's been wonderful to see her go and grow. My desire is to really help people that have done weight loss and done bariatric surgery. And so I'm working on that, but it is interesting how many people are really in denial about that. So anyway, very proud of you. And Sue and Barb, you have just been an amazing, amazing blessing to her. And just have really, it has been amazing to watch. So thank you.
John, do you have a question?
I don't have a comment now. Kylie, I just want to congratulate you for your steadiness and your openness. You're the perfect person for this job. I don't even call it, I say a job, but to be within this group, because you exhibited what we've been talking about for at least 5 years that I've been around. And it showed right up there on the screen with you. You're very passionate, you're open, you're strong, you're not afraid to cry. I saw your tears, and he started thinking about the tears. But you are the real deal. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
Abby, Marlon, Erica, Peg, does anyone have anything else? Miss Kylie, anyone else have a question? I know we've gone over a little bit, but.
It's Marlon. I don't have a question, but I do want to say thank you so much for sharing. And I hadn't heard most of that, and that was really nice. And it's pretty cool that you're killing this business. So maybe that's not the best way to describe it, but it's really good. And I'm excited, and you're an inspiration probably to everybody you meet. So I'm sure. Thank you for sharing so openly.
Having a powerful why is really, it can really fuel you and keep you in the game. Because we know that there's ups and downs with this business. We've all experienced them. But if you don't have a strong why and you don't have people around you that support you, it's easy. Like they said, if you're not near the fire, you'll get cold. And you do. And you have that support and camaraderie. So, anyone else have anything else before we end? Don't be shy. We have a minute or two. I know Barb won't shut us off.
The parts of our story are very, very similar. I'm like, we should probably connect. Sue kept saying that, but it's very shocking. I'd never heard most of your story either. I'm like, oh my. So keep rocking it. And I agree. What do they say? Like Tammy, like this is a personal growth disguised as a business.
Business.
And I think we've all kind of been there.
It is. I just appreciate your passion and willingness to share. It just reminds us that it's the caring and using the tools and the third-party validation. And we've heard it a million times over. And I just wanted you guys to really hear that that's what she did. She really followed the system, but she was really in it with her heart, and she really cared, and she stuck with it. And she had the support of her upline. So anything you want to add with that, Barb, before we close tonight?
I just want to, Kylie, there's things I didn't know. That was awesome. I've never heard your entire story before. I've heard bits and pieces, but that was just, you know, there's nothing like a bright light to make us all see that, yeah, we, you know, this is what it looks like, and we can all do this. You've inspired me to get more active and get more excited about bringing more people on and finding myself a Kylie. We all want one of you. We want to clone you. And I just want to publicly congratulate Sue, because she's been an amazing leader through all of this. And I know it's been a personal growth for her, this whole leadership thing, all of us, right? We do it for ourselves. And then all of a sudden we have this team, and like, oh my gosh, now I have a team, now what? And Sue's just been an amazing support all along, and a great leader. So congratulations to both of you. Thank you, Kylie, for letting us stretch you one more time.
Yes, thank you.
Over and over again of what a great support and friend Sue was to her, even when she was scared or she had doubts or she was having trouble finding her voice. Sue was there and kept her why in her heart for her. So
Right. And if you get anywhere near Sue, you know you're going to get juiced. So good job, Sue.
thank you again,
Thank you.
Kylie. I loved my time with you. So thank you so much.
Okay, let me stop the recording, but nobody go away just for a second, okay?